Also, on top of the circuit updates, we've got some Monostation updates too.
Absolutely, some pretty big stuff for the Monostation.
Okay.
Well, let's start off with the first one. Okay, so I'll just go to a clear session here. So the first feature that we'll take a look at is a thing called patch flip. Now, if you're familiar with the circuit, we have sample flip, and that allows you to put different samples on different steps.
Yep.
And one of the things on the Monostation is that, well, we didn't have that. You can automate everything, obviously, on the top panel, but that was quite a laborious task. If you wanted to maybe create a drum beat or something like that, you know, dial in the kick drum, okay, step 1, dial in the snare on step 5, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've added patch flip, and so now if I sort of just hit record here and play, I can just... Oh, I can turn the volume up for a start.
Yeah.
I'll just clear that just so we can start again with the volume up. So, record and play. So I've just quickly tapped in some samples there. Now, if I had a little metronome going, I could try and do that on, in time as well, but we don't have a little metronome with us. So, if I go to my part here now, so I have a different step on each one. This now allows me to say, okay, there's a snare, let's duplicate that there, let's clear it off there.
Copy step.
There's a kick, put that there, put that there. There's a nice one, so, I mean, it's going to sound terrible.
Did it record, though, the patch flip initially? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So I'm going to...
Yeah.
Okay, let's just get a bit more volume on that so I can kind of hear it. So we've got a little beat thing going on there. So now I've got a bit more sense of the rhythm and like a time. So I'll go back to my patches, hit record, and maybe, well, in fact, take record off, find a sound. Oh. That'll do. So we've now got a little system going on where we've got the sounds going.
And we can see what the patches are.
See what the patches are. Yeah. I mean, I could get a bit crazy. So yeah, so we've got all of that. Now at the moment on this page, what we've got is we've got the single sort of notes, the initial note that we've put in there. But of course, I can pitch all of these as well. So let's turn that down a bit.
Right.
I'm just kind of randomly tapping here just for the sake of it.
But you've got all the kind of scales that you could be putting in if you wanted to.
So we've got our scales page, and we can change that. So you know, you can do that sort of thing. Actually, you can actually record in the pitch of the notes first, and then if you hold the shift button while you're doing the patch flip, it will keep the pitch of those notes as well.
Wow.
So having an existing little sequence, you can just add the patch changing on top of it. So that's one of the first things. I mean,
so that's almost it's nice how that is influencing that.
Absolutely. I mean, they're two very different devices. This is a complete system.
Yeah.
Just bear with me 1 second. There we go. Turn off that arpeggiator. This is a complete system. You know, your 4 drums, your 2 synth engines.
Yeah.
This is a mono synth.
Yeah.
So they're two very different things. And some people, I think, have sort of seen the fact it's a circuit and thought, oh wow, okay, this must be the next circuit with all of those features. But actually, no. This is based around the base station, analog mono, great sounding analog mono. Instead of a keyboard on there, it's got the sequencer.
Gotcha,
You know, and we've got some nice features. For example, you know, on this one we have a pattern settings page. And on the pattern settings page, I can choose all sorts of things like the random. I can send the notes around random. I can choose the length of the pattern. I have little clock dividers as well for the speed. So that's nice and slow. This is actually a triplet kind of feel. And if we go. So you know, we've got those things. They've been around for a little while, of course. But you know, it's just taking that sequencer notion and adding it to the analog synth. So that's patch flip.
Like that.
That's the first one. Now, I'm going to start a fresh session for this and go back to my note page. And I've got a little modular here. You know, on the back of the Circuit Monostation, we have CV gate, and on an auxiliary CV, so an extra control CV output on there. And when we released Monostation up until now, that has been the CV and gate has actually been tied to oscillator 1. Now that's okay, but it's a little bit kind of limited in terms of you're following exactly what oscillator 1 would be doing. But now, if you press Shift and Sessions, we now have a switch that allows you to switch between oscillator 1 and oscillator 2 and oscillator, the mod sequencer, which is this is a new sequencer added to the Monostation. So, for example, if I go to my mod sequence page, This is a new page.
Oh, it's a new page, yeah.
Absolutely.
New sequencing page.
Yeah, I think, you know, when we sat down and discussed what we could do with it, it made a bit of sense that we could try and make this a bit more independent so that it gives you a lot more scope when you're working with a modular.
Yeah.
So now we have our oscillator 1, we have oscillator 2's individual sequencer for the paraphonic stuff as well. So, you know, that's a nice kind of thing to just got to break the oscillators up in a paraphonic mode, you know, so they're not just sort of following each other at a set sort of value. But then, of course, the mod sequencer, and of course now I've got my own little external sequencer. So, I mean, I've kind of deleted everything before, but now I've got this. So at the minute, actually, yeah, this is coming out from the mod sequencer. Let's just. So if I go to oscillator 1 now and just start to. So we have the second, I'll tune that up a bit perhaps. However, we've got the 2 independent sequencers there, and that gets quite nice and compelling really, as I say, to connect to different things with the CV and gates. And of course, you know, we've always had the aux CV control here. That's accessible by the modulation matrix, and actually we've had the sequencer from the mod sequencer always available to send out there, but that's on our velocity page.
Gotcha.
So I can actually put a velocity step here. It's not really a velocity step, and there is no note value on there, but it's sending a value up here, which I can then forward out to my auxiliary CV to control. And again, if I'm getting a little steppy and I want to kind of smooth things out a bit, shift, and the mod sequence button turns on the smooth feature, and that interpolates between those values.
Neat.
So yeah, so that I think is you know, kind of quite a big deal really, to have basically a new sequencer on there again for free. Why not?
And like the circuit monostation and the circuit can sync together, and the pattern syncs, and they play really well together.
Indeed. I mean, this is going to be terrible when I hit play, but as a proof of concept,
that's getting me going.
So yeah, there we go. My first Gaz Williams interview, and I did my worst piece of demonstration music. But there we go. There we go. So there's payback for the circuit.
So the update for this, is that gonna when is that gonna drop?
Again, similar to circuit, there'll be just a few tweaks and things that we're going to do. But in the next, I would say in the next sort of 2 months or so, something like that. But just keep watching the space. But it's on its way, and it'll be here very soon. There is just a couple of things, probably just to quickly mention. These are quite small things. A few refinements on the synth engine. Previously, on the synth. Oh, hang on. Let's just turn all that down. Let's go. We had a legato there. There's no retriggering of the envelope. You can hear it sort of pulling down, but if I now press Shift and, again, especially for Nick, pulse width modulation button, he must be getting sick of that now. But anyway, so we've got a retrigger switch there now. And the other thing is that the LFO sync, it was always key synced, which was okay, but it's a bit of a problem sometimes if you just want a nice long evolving LFO in sync, but you've got notes changing underneath it. So now if you press Shift and the pitch control, that's a switch to turn key sync on and off.
Oh, cool.
So you can now have non-key synced but synced LFO.
Sync to the clock.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh. Okay, so again, you say these are kind of small things, but there's a lot of creative.
I mean, I think, well, to be honest with you, the stuff on the monostation is actually quite. I mean, we've made quite a profound change, I think, especially adding that second sequence, a third sequence, I should say. But putting that in there has kind of really opened up a lot more possibilities with connecting into this world. And, you know, it's a very strong sequencer. And the other nice thing is if I press the Shift and Sessions page, I can actually decide on the fly to send out the CV gate from whichever sequence I want. So we could actually
change it around.
Yeah, indeed. So we can kind of just say, okay, oscillator 2, you sequence now, oscillator 1, you do it now, mod sequencer. So, there we go.
Very cool. Good on Novation for doing this. I think this is brilliant. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thanks. Guys. It's very kind. Very kind of you. Very kind.
My pleasure. Okay.
Cool. Thank you very much.